Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making something called Tosset Cakes or Tosset biscuits. Now these are a traditional biscuit from a village in Lancashire, but I think they're more widely available in Lancashire, which are flavoured with coriander and caraway seeds. They're similar to another biscuit which is called gusnarg by all accounts. Very old biscuits and very crumbly in texture and crispy and crumbly, and they taste really very good. I did do a trial run with just 20% of the ingredients that I'm going to use today, because I'd seen some reviews where the biscuits didn't turn out particularly well. My trial run worked quite well, so I thought I'd go ahead and try to make the full batch. Now, all the recipes I've seen seem to be about the same, or in fact exactly the same, with the volumes of ingredients, so it's difficult to pin down precisely who to attribute this particular recipe to. I do know that it appeared on Jamie Oliver and Jamie and Jimmy is the name of the programme. Jimmy Doherty is the other guy. It appeared on one of their shows. So, for the ingredients, we have 500 grams of plain flour and 500 grams of butter. We have 150 grams of caster sugar, and we have coriander seeds and caraway seeds, about 3.5 grams or a teaspoon of each, which I have crushed and broken up a little bit. Now, the recipe that I read seems to say you mix the butter and the sugar and the flour together, and then you add in the seeds. But I actually think it's easier, and you get a better distribution, to put the seeds in with the sugar at the beginning and stir it around like that, and then you put the batter in, and I'm actually going to try to coat the chunks of butter with the flour before I start rubbing it in. Now this butter has been softened to room temperature, but by coating it, it keeps the various chunks separate that little bit longer. Like that. And then you just use your hands or your fingers to rub it in. And as you continue rubbing, because there's so much butter, it will begin to come together into clumps like this. So then you can just actually pull the whole thing together into one large clump. You don't want to overwork this. And you can then transfer it to some plastic wrap, because we're going to need to chill this in the fridge for at least an hour. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do this in two ways. The recipe actually says chill it for an hour and then roll it out until it's about 5 centimeters thick, and then you cut out circles. Well, I'm going to do that, but I'm only going to do that with half the mixture because I want to experiment with the other half. I think we can do something different with the other half. So I'll take half the mixture and set it to one side, and I'll roll this up as you can see. It's very, very sticky because of all that butter. And I'll roll this half out when the time comes. And for the other half, I'm going to take some flour spread it around a little bit. I'm going to pull this together. And make it into a sausage shape. About 6 centimeters, which is that in diameter. Like that. And I'm going to wrap that in cling film, and I'm going to chill that for an hour as well. And then because it will become flat as it rests in the fridge, once it's started to chill it will firm up, and I will actually roll it again to make it round as I can. And I will cut this into slices rather than rolling it out, and see if that actually is an easier way of doing it. So I will be back with you in an hour, and we can go on to roll out our cookies, by which time I will also have taken some baking sheets and lightly floured them. But before putting these in the oven, once I've got them rolled out or cut out, I'm going to chill them again, because with all this butter they will spread if we overwork them. So I want to give the dough time to rest before baking, so that they don't spread too much. So I'll be back with you in an hour. I have our pastry chilled for an hour, and it's quite firm now, so it will crack as I start to roll it, but I'm going to try to roll it out to and it will break up. That's the nature of it. It did the same thing for me yesterday. I'm going to try to roll it out to, in fact I'm going to break it into smaller pieces to make it easier, to about half a centimetre in thickness, or maybe 0.6 of a centimetre in thickness. I'm just going to pull it together a little bit, which will warm it up slightly, and I don't want to warm it up too much. And then I'm going to take a cutter which is 6 centimetres, which is just under 3 inches, and I'm going to cut out some rounds. And each round I'm going to put onto a floured baking tray. Well, I've rolled out the first half of the pastry and I've put it back in the fridge on the baking trays. And I'm going to chill that for at least another 30 minutes. And now I'm going to cut out more from the log that I made. And I've actually made marks about 6 centimetres wide. So I'm going to try to cut down which I think is a better way of doing it, really. I'll continue to do that, and then I'll chill these as well for 30 minutes. And then while they're chilling, I'm going to preheat the oven to 180 Celsius. That's 160 Celsius with a fan, or 350 Fahrenheit. And then they'll be ready to bake, but before that we're going to sprinkle some caster sugar over them. So I'll be back with you to do that and put them in the oven in about 30 minutes time. Right, so I've chilled these for 30 minutes. I actually got about 48 cookies. The recipe says 25, but with that amount of dough, if you cut it into just about 1/4 inch, 6 centimetre thicknesses, you get many more than 25. So the last thing to do, having preheated the oven, is just to sprinkle some caster sugar on the top of each of the biscuits, and then bake them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. You want them to start to be going firm on the top, but you don't want them to colour golden brown because they will just dry out too much and be too crumbly. They will be crisp and they will melt in the mouth, but they shouldn't be crumbly as you try to pick them up. So I'll pop these in the oven and then I'll be back to show you the results. Okay, well, I'm back with you, and I baked our cookies, and I baked them for about 12 minutes, just so that they didn't go brown around the edges. And this is what they look like. They spread just a little bit, not very much, and I've let them cool down. So let's have a taste. Very, very buttery, as you can imagine. They almost melt in your mouth, but then you get that hit of the caraway seeds and the coriander. I don't know which one. I think it's the caraway seeds which has the stronger of the flavours. Very, very nice indeed. So they're easy to make, but you don't want to overwork the dough. That's the important thing, and if you do, let it chill down before you bake. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video, and also click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be a link to my blog where you can see the recipe, and I'll also put a link below the video so that you can get to the recipe that way. And I will be back with you in the near future with another recipe. So until then, happy baking.